In the archives of mythology, some stories are told 1,000 times, but some files are sealed. Today, we open one of them, the Medusa file. History calls her a monster, a demon with serpents for hair, whose gaze could turn any man to stone. But is that the whole truth? Or is it merely the version of the story the victors wanted us to hear? The official story is clear. Perseus, the hero, slew the monster to save the world from its evil. A victory of good over evil. But our file tells a different story. To find the truth, we must go back to the beginning. Before the monster, there was a woman. Her name was Medusa, not a demigod, not a goddess. She was mortal, a priestess sworn to the service of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. The record states her beauty was legendary, particularly her hair. But in a world ruled by jealous gods, beauty was not a gift. It was a curse waiting to be triggered. And that beauty attracted unwanted attention. Poseidon, god of the sea, ruler of the oceans and rival to Athena, coveted her. As a mortal, she was powerless against the will of a god. As a priestess, her sanctuary should have been her safest refuge. But the gods do not follow mortal rules. Poseidon insulted his rival in the most brutal way imaginable. He assaulted Medusa on the sacred marble floor of Athena's own temple. Violated, humiliated, Medusa looked for comfort from the goddess she had served her entire life. She prayed for justice. And Athena did respond, but her fury was not for the perpetrator. It was for the victim. Case analysis. Athena could not punish Poseidon. He was too powerful, a fellow god. To punish him would mean war on Olympus. But the insult could not stand. So, she chose an easier target. Athena declared that Medusa, with her beauty, had tempted Poseidon, desecrating her sacred space, a horrific distortion of the truth, an act of victim blaming on a divine scale. And so the curse was cast. The hair she was once proud of, the very thing that attracted divine attention, became a hideous nest of vipers. Her beauty, which had brought her ruin, was turned into a weapon of ruin. Her gaze now brought instant death, turning any living creature to stone. In one moment, the woman named Medusa was dead, and the monster was born. But consider another perspective. Curse or coincidence? Was this a punishment, or was it a twisted form of protection? Athena had made Medusa someone no man could ever harm again. She was exiled to a remote island, to live in perpetual isolation, each statue a reminder of her curse, a tombstone for her stolen existence. The story of Poseidon's crime was erased. The story of Athena's injustice was buried. All that remained was the tale of the monster on the island. History is written by the gods, and in their version, Medusa was the villain. And every villain needs a hero. Enter Perseus, a demigod tasked with an impossible quest to bring back the head of Medusa. But he was not alone. The gods, the very architects of Medusa's fate, now armed her killer, a shield to avert her gaze, a sword sharp enough to cut through a curse. And the cruelest irony? It was Athena who provided the mirrored shield. She didn't just create the monster, she provided the blueprint for its destruction, completing the erasure of her victim. The final confrontation was not a battle between hero and monster. It was a carefully planned execution. In the shield, Perseus did not see a demon. He saw a broken woman, cornered by the world, cursed by her own gods. And just like that, the tragedy of Medusa was over. He was hailed as a hero. But what was his trophy? The head of a tortured victim, weaponized even in death. Her abuse continued. Her head, her curse, became Perseus's ultimate tool, a weapon gifted to him by the same gods who condemned her. And in the final act of domination, Athena placed Medusa's face upon her shield, turning the symbol of her own injustice into a badge of honor. So let us ask again, was Medusa a monster, or was she made into one? The darkest truth of the Medusa file isn't about snakes or stone. It's about power, about how the powerful write history, creating monsters to hide their own crimes. In this story, the monsters didn't live in a cave, they lived on a mountain. But her story survives, subverted, reclaimed. Today, Medusa is seen not as a symbol of terror, but of righteous rage, a protector for the silenced. Her story is a reminder. Be careful of the stories you are told. Question who tells them, and more importantly, who benefits from you believing them. Medusa wasn't the monster of her own story. She was its first victim. This is the truth you were never meant to know. Her justice was delayed by millennia. But the truth, like venom, eventually finds its way. Imagine her final moments, not a monster facing its destroyer, but a survivor facing the final proof that her world had no place for justice. Even in death, her legacy was usurped. Her children by Poseidon, born from her demise, became legends in their own right, while their mother's story was forgotten. The story did not begin with a hiss, but with a prayer. It did not end with a victory, but with a cover-up. The Medusa file is closed, but there are more truths waiting to be unearthed. Join us next time, as we open another mystery file.